Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm bringing you my round 4 match from Philadelphia VGC Regionals. As you know, recently I have been uploading all my games from that tournament, although not as frequently as I'd like to, but you guys have been showing a lot of support, and as always, if you like the video, I'll do my best to bring you more content quicker. So I really appreciate the support, and I'll do my best to bring you guys the remaining matches in the upcoming days. So today's battle was from the 4th round at Philadelphia. At this point, I was 3-0 in the tournament, felt pretty good, but I'd still have to win 4 more to make it into the final 16. My round 4 opponent was Joshua Edwards, who had a team of Azumarill, Aerodactyl, Charizard, Ludicolo, Machamp, and Raichu. The two most threatening things on his team were Azumarill and Charizard. Azumarill was definitely the scariest thing, but his team looked very weak to Gothitelle and Mawile, so I figured if I could set up a Trick Room, Mawile would be able to sweep through his entire team, especially because his team was really frail. Mawile could one-hit KO any of his Pokemon. Azumarill was definitely the biggest threat, so I decided, just in case he decided to lead with Azumarill, I would have Ludicolo to counter it and Gothitelle to trap it. Unfortunately, he actually does not lead with Azumarill, but that means that my Mawile in the back can probably take care of it in the late game. His Raichu and Charizard lead is not a very good sight for me because Charizard can just kind of launch Heat Waves. With the sun up, my Scalds really won't do very much to it, and Ludicolo is kind of useless at this point other than fake outing on the first turn. So Raichu fakes out on the first turn, Raichu of course having a very fast fake out, as Ludicolo also goes for the fake out onto Charizard-Y. So a pretty useless turn there, but I burn a turn of Sun there, and I see that he has Charizard-Y, which is pretty important information because I wasn't sure whether he was running X or Y. Now this following turn I switch into Hariyama for 2 reasons. 1, Raichu often carries Encore and I don't want to get Encored into a fake out. And 2, I know that I can probably set up Trick Room this turn, and Hariyama is really good against both of my opponent's Pokemon as opposed to Ludicolo, which is, you know, it can take its attacks but it can't really dish out much damage. So fortunately enough, I am able to survive the Thunderbolt Heat Wave because Gothitelle is so especially defensive, and I successfully set up Trick Room. Now I have 4 turns of Trick Room to beat Charizard and Raichu, and that should be pretty easy given the fact that Hariyama's pretty offensive. Rock Slide actually fails to knock out the Charizard. That Charizard obviously pretty bulky, and Hariyama of course does not run max attack investment. So unfortunately I miss out on the knockout there, but still knocking it into range that any attack can KO it at this point. Gothitelle goes for a rest instead of a Psyshock because I wanted to keep the lock-in. I knew that if I kept the lock-in I could KO both of his Pokemon quickly and have just 2 remaining. So when your opponent has frail Pokemon out and you have Gothitelle locking them, your sweepers can kind of just plow through them. So I really wanted Gothitelle to ensure that both Charizard and Raichu would stay in because it means that I'd be able to pick up knockouts on both of them. He gets the knockout onto Hariyama, so now, you know, the game is 4-3 in his favor, but I still have 3 more turns of Trick Room, and Raichu and Charizard are both in KO range. So now it's finally time for Mawile to come in and do its job. So Mawile Mega Evolves here. I figure that Raichu isn't going to do anything other than attack because, you know, Raichus often don't carry Protect, and the only other thing they could really do is Encore. So I just go for the Sucker Punch there. Didn't go for a Rock Slide because of course I didn't want to miss. Sucker Punch does pick up the KO there, so that's big, and now the game's tied at 3-3, and I still have 2 more turns of Trick Room left. That means I'll be able to knock out Charizard, and even if Aerodactyl protects this turn, I can just double target it the following turn for a KO. So you see how offensive Trick Room is when you have Gothitelle and Mawile and how quickly it can just run through your opponent's team. And earlier in Team Preview I assessed that Mawile would be able to beat my opponent's entire team. And you know, the whole strategy of this team is to kind of weaken your opponent's Pokemon before setting up Trick Room. So it was working out pretty well at this point. So now there's 1 more turn of Trick Room left, and I have a 3-2 lead with the full HP Mega Mawile out, which is really important. I figured that the only way he can win at this point is by setting up a Belly Drum with the Azumarill. If he doesn't get the Belly Drum off, there's really no way he can win. So I decided I would just play rough the Azumarill instead of trying to get fancy and double targeting the Aerodactyl slot. As you see there, Azumarill did not go for the Protect, so I figured the Belly Drum was coming, and indeed it was coming as Aerodactyl goes for a Sky Drop. Could have been a potentially scary position if, for example, I didn't knock out the Aerodactyl and Belly Drum was able to go off. But fortunately enough, I did see that play, and you know, once I shut that down, I was like, okay, this game is probably over. Aerodactyl goes for the Sky Drop there onto Mawile, obviously not going to do very much damage, as Azumarill actually picks up the KO on Gothitelle with Play Rough. Like I said, this Gothitelle is very specially defensive, not very defensively bulky, but at this point, Mawile is going to close up the game. Rock Slide misses Aerodactyl, but connects with Azumarill and picks up the KO. Max attack, Mega Mawile, really clutch in doing a lot of damage with those Rock Slides, despite the power being nerfed due to double target. So now Ludicolo can just come in. Gonna go for the fake out onto Aerodactyl, and Mawile is going to be able to seal up the game here with a Rock Slide. So, the opening of the game was pretty scary, right? Because the lead matchup wasn't very good for me. I kind of mispredicted what he would lead with, but I went with the safest possible leads, so I figured even if he didn't bring out the Azumarill, I'd still have a pretty good chance. And in the end, Gothitelle Mawile was able to just overwhelm him. A lot of the teams in VGC 2014 just aren't prepared for Goth Mawile, and in this case, it really was dominant. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that match. Of course, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you next time. Peace.